By late September, the Harrow case was no longer just about a missing child. It was about power, control, abuse, and the blurred line between victim and accomplice. And with October's hearings looming, the stakes had never been higher. The Harrow case had moved from the courtroom to the national stage. But behind the headlines and the broadcasts, the core question remained unresolved: where was Emanuel? Without his body, prosecutors knew their case was fragile. And so, even as the legal machine churned, the search for a tiny life lost resumed with new urgency. Detectives from the Riverside County Sheriff's Department, joined by specialized search units, fanned out across the Moreno Valley region. Cadaver dogs, ground-penetrating radar, and even drones scanned open fields, riverbeds, and abandoned lots. One detective described the mood as haunted. "Every time we dig, every time the dogs alert, we hope we'll find him." It's not about evidence, it's about giving Emanuel dignity. Searches focused on two primary areas. 1. A drainage canal less than a mile from the Harrow residence. 2. A stretch of wooded land where a neighbor recalled seeing Jake driving late at night. Days turned into weeks. No remains were found. But each search kept Emanuel's name alive in headlines. Inside the Harrow family, fractures widened. Jake's relatives, speaking through intermediaries, claimed Rebecca was the real problem, accusing her of weakness and negligence. Rebecca's side fired back, calling Jake controlling and dangerous. Family dinners turned into legal strategy sessions. Relatives avoided one another in court hallways. For Emanuel's grandparents, the divide was unbearable. "I just want to bury my grandson. Instead, all I see is blame, shouting, and no answers." The Harrow family feud became a story of its own, one that reporters eagerly covered. By mid-September, advocacy groups entered the fray. Child welfare organizations condemned the system for failing Emanuel, pointing to prior unreported signs of neglect. Domestic violence coalitions rallied for Rebecca, framing her as a woman trapped in a cycle of control. Men's rights groups surfaced online, defending Jake as demonized by the media. Rallies were held outside the courthouse. Protest signs ranged from "Justice for Emanuel" to "Free Rebecca" to "Stop demonizing fathers." For prosecutors, the public pressure was a double-edged sword. It drew attention to Emanuel's case but threatened to politicize the trial. Cable networks began dedicating nightly segments to the Harrows. Documentaries were greenlit. Podcasts sprang up with names like "Where is Emanuel?" and "The Harrow Files." Every photo of Emanuel, smiling, small, and innocent, was replayed endlessly. Social media went further. Hashtags like #JusticeForEmanuel, #ProtectRebecca, and #HarrowTrial trended for weeks. TikTok creators reenacted courtroom moments. Twitter threads dissected Jake's every word. One journalist summed it up: "This trial isn't happening in Riverside. It's happening everywhere, on every screen, in every living room." Investigators, building their case, painted a detailed picture of life inside the Harrow home. Financial strain mounted. Jake lost a steady job 6 months before Emanuel's death. Rebecca, isolated from friends, spent most days indoors. Neighbors reported loud arguments, sometimes violent. Police had been called once before but left without making arrests. Neighbor testimony: "I'd see Rebecca on the porch, holding Emanuel, looking like she wanted to talk. But Jake would always come out after, and she'd go quiet." This painted the portrait of a home in collapse, one where Emanuel's cries were often drowned out by shouting. Prosecutors leaned heavily on digital forensics. Phone logs revealed late-night calls Jake couldn't explain. Text from Rebecca to a friend, weeks before Emanuel vanished, hinted at desperation. "Rebecca, I don't know how much longer I can take this. Emanuel deserves better. But I'm scared." For prosecutors, it was evidence of foreknowledge, proof Rebecca suspected danger. For the defense, it was evidence of her victimhood. Outside court, reporters swarmed Jake as he was escorted in chains. Reporter: "Jake, did you kill Emanuel?" Jake, snapping back: "You don't know what you're talking about. None of you do." Rebecca, again silent, was led separately. Her face remained expressionless, a mask that only fueled speculation. One headline captured the moment: two parents, two faces, the silent mother and the defiant father. With no body and conflicting narratives, psychological experts were called upon to frame the Harrows. Jake, controlling, narcissistic, unable to accept weakness. Rebecca, submissive, traumatized, but possibly complicit. A forensic psychologist interviewed on 2020 explained, "In cases of family homicide, roles aren't clear-cut. Sometimes both parents are perpetrators. Sometimes one dominates and the other complies." The Harrow case is textbook ambiguity. This ambiguity became the trial's defining feature. Politicians referenced his case in speeches about family protection. Activists cited it in campaigns for domestic violence awareness. Emanuel's short life became a symbol. But symbolism wasn't enough for investigators. They needed facts, evidence, and a body. And so, as October 28 approached, all eyes turned back to the Riverside courthouse, waiting for the preliminary hearing that would set the stage for trial. The Harrow case had become more than a trial. It was now a mirror, reflecting society's fears, failures, and divisions. And as the preliminary hearing loomed, one truth became clear: justice for Emanuel would demand navigating not just law, but the fragile boundaries of love, power, and truth.